Mikel, do you leave the match with the feeling that you could have killed the game with the amount of chances you created before they grew into the match?
Yeah, for sure. But the reality is that we didn't. We had so many open situations. We opened them up, big spaces, big opportunities to score. We didn't. And then when you defend the box the way we did and concede 2 goals from set pieces at this level is very difficult to earn the 3 points.
Yeah. Before the goals, I was just speaking to Martin, and he mentioned that he felt it was a bit chaotic in the second half and that they couldn't manage the game properly. Why do you feel that happened, especially after their goals?
Because you don't finish the actions and you give so many simple balls away, and against a team that they have a lot of energy, they run, and in transition they are really good. That's a really dangerous thing to do. And when we had them, we didn't kill them, and then we give them hope. They score from 2 set pieces and then became very chaotic.
Obviously, you have the best defensive record in the league, but conceding from set pieces more than you wanted, I imagine. How frustrating is it, and why do you feel this keeps happening?
Very, because especially with how few we concede, and the average has been really, really high because we lost points as well here against Palace, against Fulham. We could have been the same against Brentford, so something really to improve.
Yeah, we know that a win here could create momentum for ahead, what will be a very important match, but how do you make sure that the negative feeling doesn't remain?
No, what we have is he didn't create the right momentum, positive momentum. He certainly created a lot of anger, frustration, rage, disappointment, and let's use all of that for Wednesday. That's what we have to do.
And of course, it is challenging to have an opponent that is as intense and high quality as Bournemouth in between matches against PSG in the Champions League. Did you feel any mental or physical fatigue at all?
No mental fatigue. Is true that a lot of players that they had to start, probably they were in condition for something else, is what we have.
And talking about condition, we mentioned this before the game, but about Timber, I know you still have a lot of a few days to recover him, but is there a chance that he won't be available for midweek?
Yeah, it is a chance, yeah.
Big chance. How do you assess that now?
That's
right now?
Doctor.
Okay. Thank you, Mikel.
Thank you.
It's the rage, that's the message from Mikel Arteta. What do you think?
Yeah, of course the message will be like this. As we know with Jamie, it's not that easy. You know, a season can be classed as a very good season, and then all of a sudden after 2 games, 2 bad results, you know, we can question your season, and I think this is where they are. Massive game against Paris. I'm not sure many people will count them, you know, to go there and win. If there's a team that can actually do it, is them, because what we've seen, you know, over the years is when they are on the front foot and very aggressive in their opponent's face. You know, I've seen them play against City one-on-one at the back, you know, and very, you know, much aggressive. So if they can bring this to Paris, of course they have a chance. But if they play like we've seen them today and the last few games, then I think there's a concern, because there's a lack of energy, intensity. Of course, the desire to win is there, but you know, at this level, you need to do more than this.
Gav, the title is long gone, but have they given themselves a problem at the back end of this season, failing to beat Brentford at home, failing to beat Palace at home, and now losing to Bournemouth? Because games that they could have probably dismissed,
of course,
with second place in the bag, now they can't.
Of course, obviously it's just a picture and it's just a big screen, but if you look at the next few games, you wouldn't argue to the fact that I'm going to tell you City can finish second in front of Arsenal if you look at the fixtures. And this is the situation they found themselves in. You know, you lose the game in Paris, the spirit is down, and then who knows what's next. So this game should have been a given at home. I'm pretty sure the fan would have wanted the 3 points, but you need to do more than that. You know, of course you're going to create chances. I've heard Mikel saying that their opponent today, they create chances. Is it enough? It's not just enough to do. You have to kill and you have to win games.
Jamie, if Newcastle have got these 2 games before Brighton away, Chelsea home, before Arsenal go to Anfield, and then it's Newcastle against Arsenal.
So, in other words, if
they win those 2 games,
they win all their games, they finish above Arsenal.
Yeah. So you know, second place. How big of a deal is it for Arsenal to say we've been runners-up in the last 3 seasons?
I think it's huge for them now. What you don't want at this stage of the season is it for it to unravel. and end up being a really disappointing season. I think if they finish second, they can turn around, get to semi-final of the Champions League. They maybe they could take that as a lot of positives, but not finishing second when Manchester City have been so far off it, but maybe they could creep ahead of you. And Newcastle, who have been fantastic, really, they've won the Carabao Cup as well, but you just don't want that. That just sends the wrong message going into next season, and it's not the end of it you want. They've been at times brilliant. I think about the moment in Bernabeu when they played Real Madrid over 2 legs. They've somehow got to find that spirit again when they go to PSG on Wednesday night, and that's why it's such a huge season for them, a huge game for them, because if they were to lose, then these other games become really hard. The Newcastle one, there'll be a little bit of not the feeling that you want, the positive feeling that Gail was talking about at that home game. So they've got to make sure they get a good result on Wednesday night, which is going to be a cauldron. It's going to be very difficult for them. They've got to find it within themselves to get something.
And this Jamie Redknapp, the former Bournemouth player, Jamie Redknapp. Do you think that's a big shot in the arm then in terms of this push for Europe? Now with 3 games to go.
Yeah, they had a difficult period where they lost a few games, drew a few games, but every single time I watched them, even when they lost, they were still magnificent. The way that they played, they performed. A couple of things went against them. Even last week against Manchester United, they're 1-0 up. Even Ilson gets a red card. But the way they reacted today, and they obviously made really good substitutions. Semenyo came on and we felt that he had a real impact on the game. We found out that he has got the longest throw we've ever seen. But that helps, But all the things they do it so well. They lose the ball, they go and chase it really quickly. I like the way that Brentford, I like the way that Bournemouth play. They're different in their approach. They know that they sometimes can't outplay teams, but I tell you what they do, they outwork most of them.
Did you notice their belief growing in that second half, Gail?
Yes, I mean, some angle it seems like he's touching his arm, but we've been trying to find, for the last 15 minutes and we can't see it. What we can say is that the way Odegaard is defending is very odd. I can see that he's trying to make contact, so there's no run from the player, but that's not the way to defend. I think I will be more concerned about how they defend both set pieces rather than this situation.
Okay, but you could see why Arsenal would be unhappy about that potentially, and they would say that's come on off his elbow.
Yeah, of course, absolutely, but it's not conclusive. And we've been here, Gail and I, for 10 minutes trying to see exactly. And when it's not giving us an on-the-field decision as a goal, is there enough evidence to overturn that? I would have to say absolutely not. And what we don't want is VAR already upsets enough people. We don't want to 6-7 minutes looking at different angles. It just doesn't feel conclusive. If you were to say, and if you speak to Ivan Nilsson, he's probably the only person that could tell us there. It does look like it hits the underside of his arm.
Or the hit,
because it's hit something relatively hard. Because if it's hit his bicep, the back of it, it wouldn't have enough power or momentum to get where it does. So it can only really have hit his elbow or hit his hip.
The hip bone, yeah.
So. But again, we've been here for Gail and I had 10-15 minutes to look at it. We don't want the game to be like that. It doesn't feel conclusive enough. I've got no doubt whatsoever Mikel Arteta will be furious about it and he'll feel that it definitely shouldn't have been given. But as I say, it just doesn't feel conclusive to me.
That's an interesting point that Gail makes, isn't it? It's about the defending of the set piece that Arsenal should actually be concerned about rather than which part of the body it goes in.
Yeah, and there's been a couple. Certainly the first one, the second one, and this has been a bit of a reoccurring film. When you look at it, when you look at their set pieces, 48% of their goals have been conceded from set pieces. Wolves, Manchester United, we all spoke about the problems.
Premier League average, Jamie, 26%.
Absolutely.
Of the set piece that Arsenal should actually be concerned about rather than which part of the body it goes in.
Yeah, and there's been a couple. Certainly the first one, the second one, and this has been a bit of a reoccurring film. When you look at it, when you look at their set pieces, 48% of their goals have been conceded from set pieces. Wolves, Manchester United, we all spoke about the problems.
Premier League average, Jamie, 26%.
Absolutely. But we all talk about Arsenal's being magnificent, offensive set pieces. The detail they get into, they need to work harder on this. And there are certain things that can stop you winning a title. And this certainly would be one of them, because a set-piece coach gets a lot of plaudits for what he does when they score goals. I don't know his impact on perhaps the defensive ones, but I can only imagine he does the same thing with them. But they are definitely not good enough. In fairness, they miss Gabriel as well. He's a massive player when he plays in terms of set pieces because he's a leader, he heads it. But they didn't deal with either the set piece that cost them the match today very well.
But even on the goal, you can see the first run on the first push, the aggressivity to get that ball, and the second phase with Odegaard. Like Jamie said, you need to work on this and you need to make sure that you're on it, because you are on it to score, but you need to be on it when it's time to defend as well.
Right, OK, so 2 set pieces, costly for Arsenal in that second half, and it's a huge victory for Bournemouth. They'd never won away to an Arsenal side before in any competition. And let's speak now to the first goal scorer, Dean Howson, who joins us live from the Emirates. Congratulations to you, Dean, on your goal, the performance, and a really impressive victory as well. How much belief was there in the squad going to Arsenal tonight that you could go and win?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, we knew that we'd never gotten a point here, and that. Yeah, I mean, you know, in the first half, I think with phases we were good. With phases, they were also probably better than us. And in the second half, yeah, we put more rhythm into the match, and it worked.
Dean, Jamie Redknapp, congratulations. I want to talk to you about your goal. I mean, we were amazed by this long throw that Anton Semenyo has. Did it surprise you? You found yourself in a really good position here, like that second phase for the head. Just talk us through it.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I didn't expect he could throw that long. We've tried it. We've tried it in a few other games, and it was a bit of trial and error, and yeah, it worked. It worked today. So you know, I'm always joking about with Ants, and it works. So I can't make any more jokes.
So hold on a second. You didn't actually know that he could throw it that far?
Yeah, I mean, you know, he's a strong guy, but I always say, you know, for being that strong, you can't throw it that far. But I guess he proved me wrong.
It was a pretty good. Just talk us about your journey. I'm a big fan of yours. I've watched you obviously since you came to Bournemouth. You were born in the Netherlands. You play for Spain. You went to Italy to play for Juventus, and you find yourself at Little Bournemouth, would I say? Because I played there as a young man. That's an incredible journey. But how happy you are that you made this decision to go to play for Bournemouth?
Yeah, you know, when in the summer I had to make a decision. I had a few options, and my main reason was I wanted to play, of course, and I wanted to grow as a player and improve. And I think the rhythm of the Premier League, you know, I really learned a lot from that. And plus, you know, the gaffer and the directors and the club, it's just heading in a good direction. So yeah, it's great for me. It's great for all the guys, and yeah, really happy with my decision, of course.
Well, two things on that, Dean. Did you expect to play as many games as you have done? And also, have you even surprised yourself with the progress and the development that you've made?
Yeah, I mean, I always, you know, everyone always has belief in themselves, but it's gone fast, and I'm really happy with myself. I always thought I could do it, so now I think I can do it. So it's I'm just really happy, and I just need to keep on working hard and stay humble and try my best.
What do you say then to coaches who sort of favour older, experienced heads in their defence? When you know you're 20, you've got Zabani next to you is 22, Kirkes on one side, and even Rojo there as well today. All under 23, I think.
Yeah, I think Julian is 23. Yeah. So yeah, I always say if you're good enough, you're old enough, and yeah, I think that's what we're proving this season. I think I'm not really sure, but maybe we're one of the best in like the defensive records in the league. So yeah, I think you know, we've proved ourselves, and yeah, really happy to be here.
And have you spoken about the possibility of getting Bournemouth into Europe and what it would mean for the club and the town?
Yeah, you know, first of all, we've already beaten the points record. Yeah, this is just such an important win for us. And yeah, we just need to continue like this. We have some difficult games, and it would be great for us. You know, everyone wants to be a part of making history at a club, and you always remember that. So yeah.
And your own future, you've been linked with so many clubs.
Yeah, you know, I think I'm pretty relaxed. You know, just a chill guy, as
chill
my
guy.
celebration is. Yeah, and yeah, I don't really think about it too much. I just go to training every morning. You know, we have a great group, great staff, great everything at the club, and I just enjoy my football and I enjoy myself. And at the moment, I'm just having fun playing football, and yeah, it's going well, so I'm really happy.
You can see it, and the Bournemouth fans are loving every second of it as well. Dean, we just got one more duty to give you the Player of the Match award as well. The trophy is just going in. There we go. Congratulations. What a night.
Thank you very much. Yeah, definitely to remember.
Well done, Dean.
Well done, Dean. Thank you for speaking to us.
Thank you.
Chill guy indeed, eh?
Well, I don't know anything about it. My son has told me it's the young players, everybody looks up to this young man. 20 years of age, he is so cool, so composed, so chilled, as he says. I mean, he just makes the game look so easy and effortless. For a 20-year-old to be playing at this level and doing what he is, that's why he's coveted by pretty much everybody in Europe.
Gal, do you think that's an important characteristic actually to have, to be, as he seems so relaxed and self-confident?
I think you need to be. I think his time at Juve would have helped him. Being in touch with a few players that went there at a young age, there are some key factors and key attributes that you need to have, and you need to be able to learn how to defend in Italy, you know, and in England, maybe we get in there, but in Italy, they're proven for this. So I think this time, you know, his time at Juve would have helped him. And you can tell he's a proper defender. You know, his body language, the scanning, you know, every touch he takes.
But loves to play when he gets the chance as well.
Yes, because this is what the game in 2025 wants.
The modern day centre back, you got a bit of the influence from the Netherlands, you got a little bit of influence from Spain, where they come out with the ball and all the great defenders they've had, and then you've got that Italian sort of mark on it as well. So if your journey and the little mixture that he's got is pretty perfect, and now he's found himself in the Premier League.
Throwing the coaching of Andoni Iraola as
Absolutely,
well.
you know, so the elements are good. Everything is right for him. You have to get all the right ingredients to just be a top player, and he's a great, you know, certainly from set pieces for the amount of times I just see him cruising into midfield with the ball, he plays it out wide, but he also defends well. He does that side of the game is so important to him. He's a complete player, this young man.
That's the importance of your choice. You know, you could go to any club, but he decided to come to a club with perhaps a little bit less pressure, where we will force you as a coaching staff to ask you and to do things that you were not maybe capable of doing at the highest level. Absolutely. And I think, you know, you have certain clubs that are made for young players, and I think he find the perfect place for himself.
It's an interesting one in the summer for him, because everyone wants him. He's going to get a lot of offers. Is he better off having another year at Bournemouth and keep developing, or does he make that step? Real Madrid, everybody's talking about in Barcelona.
They might decide they need to sell.
They might need to sell, obviously, because of the financial fair play. This doesn't do any harm. The fact that you're scoring goals live on Sky, you know, his price tag is going up by the day.
I love the fact that he didn't know that Antoine Semenyo could throw it that far.
I don't believe that.
When you ask that question, you're thinking, we've
week.
worked on it so many times on the training ground. Yeah,
But I know that's his price gone up as well, because it's not just. These parts of the game are obviously so important, because he gets the other side of Miles Lewis-Skelly, and now he's in a position where we normally would expect, can he make the right delivery? And he's normally going to go right. You can see even Nilsson's just got his brakes on there, maybe slide it back to him. Anyway, it doesn't. It's a really baggy touch there, and then the ball goes out of play. We're thinking, OK, Arsenal should be fine. But then this throw-in, I think 37 yards I've been told. That is incredible. And I think with Arsenal's setup, I'll just take that back a little bit, because I think normally, when somebody's taken a throw in this area, you're looking at it's probably just going to land in and around here. You know, you've got your Declan Rice there. You've got, I think that's Saliba. Is that Saliba there? Yes, Saliba. So yeah, they're thinking that they're in a good position to attack it. Yeah. But that ball is going to go over their head by at least 3 yards, and he's 6'5", and he still has to lean back and head it. It's a phenomenal throw-in. Look at this one.
Yeah, but the problem is that you at least want to challenge the player. You know, there's no challenge here, there's no duel. So you're actually making it very simple for the player. You need to try and block him, or at least to jump. I think, again, you know, we will speak about the first post defending, but when you're not looking at the ball and you don't propose a duel and a challenge, I think it's very difficult to defend like this.
And there's the chill guy.
The chill guy. So we're told that is officially the first direct goal from a throw-in.
Can I just show? This is important, actually. It's going to go back a long way. We can carry on talking before it shows it. But I feel that there was something that happened as well in that, because both periods, both goals, it comes with Miles Lewis-Skelly is not actually watching the ball, and the same thing happens with Odegaard. And I feel that sometimes it's not look at Miles here. You can see him. I know he's doing a block, but he's not even watching the ball.
What's your verdict on this, Gail? We've seen this creeping into the modern game a little bit, the way to defend.
I think it's just to block the run. You know, you want to make sure that the player is not having something that we can talk about, because like Jamie said, first goal and second goal, same mistake.
And the thing is as well, it's very difficult unless you can get your arm on him, but he's just going to dip in behind, and that's more difficult for Miles to maybe get his hands on him and stop him. And as it comes in, we can see there that he finds himself in a really good position. Declan Rice can't get back in there quick enough, and obviously Saliba. But look, a really good piece of play from Bournemouth, who are, you know, when you've got an addition like that, and it does in data and the way the game's going, set pieces, it just makes Antoine, Semenyo even more important.
All right, so where are we winding back to now? We're going to do the 2-1 goal.
Yeah, this is good as well. This is great from Bournemouth. I love this. So I'm going to just stop it there. We're talking about good set-piece teams, and Bournemouth are certainly one of them. What they do really well is they've got the two players there. I think that's Tavernier and then Kirkes. And they're going to make that run into an area, whereas because you can see that Bukayo Saka's there, and then the next two players that are important are Huijsen and Semenyo, because they're then going to come into this position just to make sure that you don't get counter-attacked. And then they're going to get that first contact, which is the key, and then you're going to get that ball, obviously, that comes into the back post. And you can already see there that Odegaard is having a little wrestle with Ivan Nilsson. Oh, sorry, he's here. Yeah, even he's not looking at the ball. Sorry, mate, I'm going to change that. You're right. Even Nilsson's not. Odegaard's not looking at the ball either. Again, which is something that I personally I'm not a big fan of. So anyway, it works out really well. Bournemouth make that run. They get the first contact, and now at the back post, Odegaard's not looking at the ball. It's contentious. We all know that, but it just shows you a good bit of movement from Bournemouth's point of view as well.
It's difficult because you make your choice where you want your stronger players to defend, but we know that this first post zone where are actually happening. So you will have Saka on the first post defending on the corner, and you will have Odegaard, two players that, you know, you would argue are not the player you want, you know, to compete for the balls. You have to make a choice. Obviously, it's always easier to talk after the game because we have the answers. But yeah, 2 goals.
But they outdid him early in the season as well, with Christie scoring that wonderful goal when he came on. Very different, but still smart. Because what you do, if you're going to stick it straight into the area there and you've got to compete against Saliba, it's more difficult. So by that little bit of clever movement, you just get that first contact. And once that happens, anything can.
Is Arsenal set-piece coach still net positive?
I don't know, is he?
I think he might be.
I think he's very positive.
I think he might be. Let's have a look at the goal in the first half, because obviously it's ultimately a very disappointing end to the game for Arsenal. But there was plenty to admire about their first half, I suppose, typified by the goal.
What I want to say is that when I see Arsenal on the front foot going and press, when they press from front foot here, gaining the ball in the middle of the park, they have the player to make something happen. What I've seen during the game and over the last few weeks is that I don't know if it's a lack of intensity, if it's a desire from Mikel Arteta to stay back. I find them a little bit passive, you know, instead of being very aggressive. Every time when you're on the front foot and you're in the face of your opponent, you provoke a mistake. And then when you have players like Odegaard and Xhaka and all the rest, things will happen automatically.
It's a really good piece of play as well from Arsenal. It's where they would get the 3 midfield players involved, Partey, Odegaard and Declan Rice, and wonderful finish. I like the way they play. I like the way that they sort of opened up Bournemouth, but you never felt, Gail was saying it all during the game, it never felt like Arsenal were really comfortable, you know, and I think that was Arsenal were really comfortable, you know, and I think that was obviously a problem.
Arsenal at that level, could that hurt PSG?
I think they will need more intensity. They will need more desire and hunger. I'm not questioning the fact that they want to win. I'm just questioning the fact that they can do it, if they can or not. Because what you see here, the only few minutes where they press and they really went for the ball, they actually recovered the ball and scored the goal. Can they maintain this performance over 90 minutes? Sure, we haven't seen it, you know, in the first leg. This is one of the concerns. Arsenal are really good at playing and also defending. So if you have the ball, they will actually accept to leave you the ball, defend with a line of 6, with the 2 wingers, you know, helping the back 4. And we've been giving them praise for this because, you know, they don't concede a lot of goals. But at the same time, when you accept to play like this, then you're not accepting or you're not challenging anyone. And I think this PSG side, if you want to go there and actually win the game and qualify for Champions League final, you have to do more than this, but not just once. You will have to do it, 10 times better, because someone, is in front of you and probably one of the best team in Europe.
Yeah, I don't think it would necessarily have any bearing on the result or on the performance on Wednesday night, because it's already going to be a difficult game. They could have won 6-0. You've got to go to one of the toughest places in Europe. Things need to go well. You need that little bit of luck. You need to keep everybody on the pitch, and you need the likes of Bukayo Saka or someone to really do something special, a bit like they did in the Bernabeu. So it is going to be incredible.
You don't think a win tonight would have made them feel better about themselves, which might have affected the performance?
Yeah, but I just think it's going to take care of itself. They've already made it hard for themselves because of the performance and the result in midweek. Going there on Wednesday night is extremely tough, but I still think, because it's going to the game, the occasion tonight won't really matter. You could see at the end of that last half an hour, players were sort of just going through the motions a little bit. The strange, this is probably has a bearing on what Mikel Arteta would be terrified of now, was going out of Europe and then also not finishing second. Because they were, well, certainly for me, the big favourites to win it this year. If Man City were to have the wobble that they had, the only team I could really see win it would have been Arsenal. If they don't finish second and don't win another trophy, it ends up being a really poor season for them. Because we've all spoken about how bad Man City have been, and it's been one of those terrible seasons for them. They could still end up winning the FA Cup and come second. That ends up being a really, a relatively decent season for them. Arsenal have to finish second.
Gail, I want your take on this in a few minutes' time, but we're going to first of all head to a break, and when we come back,
old centre-back scored an important goal for his team. They were wonderful today, and I was there as a young man. I left at 17 years of age. If you could have said to me now, this is what they'd be doing and on the verge, or a big opportunity to get into Europe, I would never have believed you. But it just shows you great recruitment, work ethic, a really good manager at the helm. Obviously it started a long while ago with Eddie Howe, but now this guy is doing such a wonderful job, and they obviously dress so well as well. It's amazing.
Steady. It is no doubt an incredible achievement, the first time they've ever achieved the double over Arsenal as well. And this wasn't, Gail Clichy, part of the Arsenal plan, was it, before they head across to the second leg of the Champions League semi-final?
No, because you want to get into the second leg against Paris with full confidence, and you see a strong lineup at the beginning of the game, so Arteta took it fully well, but it's weird to concede 2 set pieces from them, and the way they conceded the goals also, we'll be talking about it, but a bit of lack of energy, enthusiasm around the stadium, I will feel, and it's going to be a very challenging and hard end of the season for them.
I think a lot of that was because of how well Bournemouth played in that second half. People trying to get shirts, got their homemade posters up. I think someone was lucky with Dean Howson's shirt in there. And that could well be a Bournemouth collector's item. They would love to keep him at the club far beyond this season. Will that be possible? Who knows?